Hi friends, it's Jenny Phillips from JenniferLPhillips.com. I'm here today to talk to you about the challenge of work overwhelm, by which I mean feeling overwhelmed by the volume of your work, the pace of your work, or most likely the combination of the two. Specifically, I want to talk to you about this problem of work overwhelm in organizations because I see, and I'm sure you've seen, loads of articles and think pieces on how to manage this issue for your personal career. Those are good reads. I encourage you to look for them. I post them from time to time on my social media accounts. However, I don't see many people writing about how to manage this issue for an organization. And oftentimes it is an organizational problem. So doing what you can in your personal workflow doesn't necessarily get at the root problem. And certainly if you're the boss, you should be concerned for and take into consideration your entire workforce. So what I see is that there are 3 strategic pivots for influencing this problem in your organization. And that's what I want to talk with you about today, so that when you spend time or resources and energy on these issues, you are spending them well. So 3 strategic pivots for addressing work overwhelm. The first one is people. So the question here is really quite basic and fundamental. Do you have the people you need to get the work done? Do you have enough people? Do you have the right head count? And do you have the expertise, the skills, the perspective, the experience that you need at the table? Now, this is not to say I don't support a lean organization. In fact, I'm quite fascinated by them. But at the end of the day, there is a bottom line, regarding how many people you need to do the work that you have committed to. So you need to look very carefully and make sure that you are asking for a reasonable volume of work out of your team. So number 1 is people. Number 2 is processes. So the question here is, are your processes, your workflows efficient enough to deliver the volume of work you've committed in a reasonable amount of time? Now, most of the folks that I work with, and I'm guessing you're similar, are going to look at me and say, yeah, they're fine. And yeah, you're probably right, because you're good at what you do. Most of the people I work with are excellent at their jobs. I am not a remedial coach. However, if you are in an organization that is growing rapidly, you need to take a step back and really focus on process, because processes don't necessarily scale as quickly as you would like them to for your organization. So if you are growing rapidly, or if a lot of people in your organization have been promoted into stretch positions, then you are going to need to give people extra resources around this topic of process. You've got to take a step back and figure out what's going to be most efficient, not just in the past, what's worked for you, but for the next phase of your business, the next phase of your organization. So take scale into account when you assess the quality of your processes. Quickly, 2 ways to address process, to improve them. 1, look at technology, know what's available, do the work, do the due diligence to understand what might be accessible to you and your team, technology-wise. The second, which I think is strategically very important, is to understand, as you break down your process, where do you actually add value to the end deliverable that you provide to your client or customer. So don't spend your time, and don't ask your teams to spend time on process steps that may have been important in the past, but at this point in your operation, they don't add value to the end deliverable. So strategically, that's how you can impact process. So 2 pivots, people and processes. Number 3 is organizational culture, one of my favorite topics. And what I'm talking about here is that if you're looking at this video thinking, I've got the people I need, our processes work, they're ready to scale, but there's still a problem. In that case, you really need to look hard at culture. So what I mean by looking hard at culture is, 1, understand the culture you've got. Don't just assume as the boss that you know the culture and you are ready to charge ahead. Make sure you go through the process of understanding what the reality is for your workforce. Number 2, setting the vision. Being very, very clear about what type of culture is going to work for your organization. And in this case, I'm talking specifically about strategic thinking, about creativity, about contemplation, rest. But this is true of whatever culture you're trying to build. Articulate a clear vision. Once you've done that, you need to break down implement daily practices and positive rituals that reinforce the culture that you're trying to build. So making it a part of everyone's everyday life. And then finally, you have to manage it. You have to be a great example. You have to hire people who are excited to be a part of this kind of culture and build it with you. And then you have to hold people accountable to these cultural values in the performance review process. So 3 pivots. If you're going to address this issue of work overwhelm, make sure you have the right people you need and enough people. Make sure your processes are as efficient as they can be and that they are scaling at a pace that is necessary for your organization's growth. And make sure that the culture you are managing, leading, is purposeful and in support of these goals. That's it for today. Good luck to you. This is really a tough, knotty problem for people and organizations to tackle, but I have faith that you can do it. And if you focus on these 3 pivots, you will not be spinning your wheels. You will not be wasting your efforts. These things really can impact the overall experience of work volume, work pace, and really the quality of work life in your organization. So good luck to you. It's a noble goal. You're not alone. Many people are working on this, and if you focus your energy, you can move the needle. Take care. Have a great day.